Amara's hands wouldn't stop shaking. She sat at the corner table of Romano's restaurant, wearing her only good dress, a royal blue one she'd bought 3 years ago from a thrift store. The dress was clean and pressed, but it looked tired, just like her. Around her, people laughed and clinked glasses filled with drinks that probably cost more than she made in a day. In her sweaty palm, she clutched a wrinkled $5 bill. That was all she had. $5 until Friday, when she'd get paid for scrubbing floors and washing dishes at Mr. Marcus Leon's mansion. She'd already spent this month's money on her grandmother's medicine and the leaky roof over their tiny apartment. But her friend Maria had insisted. Go on this blind date, Amara. His name is Evan. He's nice and he has a good job. You deserve someone special. So here she was, feeling like a fake diamond in a store full of real ones. The waiter passed by her table for the third time, giving her a look that said, Are you going to order something or just take up space? Amara's cheeks burned hot. I'm waiting for someone, she whispered. The waiter sniffed and walked away. Then she saw him. Evan walked through the restaurant's golden doors wearing a suit that probably cost more than her entire year of rent. He was tall, with slicked back hair, and a smile that looked more like a smirk. He spotted Amara and checked his expensive watch, frowning. 15 minutes late. He was 15 minutes late, but somehow his face said she was the problem. Amara? He said her name like it tasted bad. Yes. Hi. She stood up too quickly, and her chair scraped loudly against the floor. People turned to look. Her face got hotter. It's so nice to finally sit down, Evan said, not sitting himself. He stayed standing, looking down at her. His eyes traveled from her old dress to her worn-out shoes, to the wrinkled $5 bill on the table. His smirk grew bigger. Is that all you brought? Amara's throat felt tight. I thought maybe we could just get appetizers or... Appetizers? Evan laughed, loud enough that the couple at the next table stopped talking. Do you even know where you are? This is Romano's. The cheapest thing here costs $30. I didn't know, I'm sorry, What do you do for work? Evan crossed his arms. I'm a maid, Amara said quietly. I clean houses and... A maid. Evan said it like she'd said garbage collector or monster. He laughed again, and this time he pulled out his phone. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. What are you doing? Recording this. He pointed his phone at her face. My boys are never going to believe this. I go on a blind date, and she shows up with $5. He zoomed in on the crumpled bill. Look at that, guys. $5. Tears pushed at the corners of Amara's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of everyone. Please stop, she whispered. Why? This is hilarious. Did you think you could come to a place like this and what? Split a salad? Evan's voice got louder. More people were watching now. Let me guess, you were hoping I'd pay for everything? That's what this is, right? You're just looking for a free meal. No. Amara stood up. I would never. I don't want anything from you. Oh, please. Look at you. Look at that dress. Is that from 2015? And those shoes have holes in them. You're a charity case trying to catch a rich guy. The tears came now, hot and fast down her cheeks. Amara grabbed her $5 and her tiny purse. I'm leaving. Good idea, Evan said, still recording. This restaurant is for people who belong here, not maids who can barely. Excuse me. A new voice cut through the air like a knife. The floor manager appeared, a thin man with a sharp suit and a sharper expression. His name tag said Gregory. Is there a problem here? Gregory asked, but he was looking at Amara, not Evan. Yes, Evan said quickly. She can't afford to eat here. She's wasting a table. Gregory turned to Amara. His eyes were cold. Miss, do you have a reservation? Yes, it was under Evan's name. Do you have a credit card? We require all guests to have a valid payment method. Amara's voice came out tiny. I have $5. Gregory's face changed. He looked at her like she was dirt on his expensive floor. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave. Romano's has standards, and if you cannot meet our minimum requirements, she's not going anywhere. The voice came from behind them. It was deep and calm and powerful, like thunder far away, but coming closer. Everyone turned. Walking through the restaurant, past the fancy tables and the shocked customers, was Marcus Leon, Amara's boss, her billionaire boss, the man whose mansion she cleaned every single day. And he was walking straight toward her. Marcus Leon wore a simple black shirt and pants, but somehow he looked more important than everyone else in their fancy clothes. His dark eyes were fixed on Gregory, and his face was calm but hard, like stone. Mr. Leon. Gregory's cold face melted into a warm smile. What an honor! We didn't know you were dining with us tonight. She's not going anywhere, Marcus repeated, and his eyes shifted to Amara. Something soft flickered there. Something kind. She's with me. Amara couldn't breathe. The entire restaurant had gone silent. Evan's phone was still recording, but his hand had dropped to his side. His mouth hung open. Marcus walked up to Amara's table and pulled out her chair. Please sit down. Mr. Leon, I don't understand. Sit, he said gently. Please. Amara sat. Her legs felt like jelly. Marcus turned to Gregory, and his voice dropped low and dangerous. Did I just hear you threaten to throw out my guest? Gregory's face went white. I didn't realize she was. She's not just a maid. Marcus's words filled the whole room. She's Amara, and she is my guest. The restaurant held its breath, and everything was about to change. Marcus Leon didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. The way he stood there, calm and steady like an oak tree in a storm, made everyone in Romano's restaurant freeze. Even the kitchen sounds seemed to go quiet. Gregory, the floor manager, looked like he wanted to disappear into the fancy carpet. Mr. Leon, I sincerely apologize. If I had known she was your guest, I would never have. But you didn't know, Marcus said softly. And that's exactly the problem, isn't it? You saw someone you thought was weak, someone you thought didn't matter, and you decided to throw her out like garbage. Gregory's face turned red, then white, then red again. Sir, I was simply following restaurant policy. Your policy is to humiliate people? Marcus's eyebrow went up. Interesting. I'll have to remember that when I decide whether to keep investing in this place. The color drained completely from Gregory's face. Everyone knew Marcus Leon owned part of Romano's restaurant, and many other restaurants, and hotels, and half the city. Marcus pulled out the chair across from Amara and sat down. He looked at her with kind eyes. Are you okay? Amara couldn't speak. She could only shake her head. Tears were still running down her face, and she felt so embarrassed she wanted to sink through the floor. It's going to be okay, Marcus said. I promise. Then he turned to Evan, who was still standing there with his phone, looking confused and angry at the same time. And you are? Marcus asked. Evan Rothschild. Evan puffed up his chest. My father owns Rothschild Motors. Maybe you've heard of it. I have, Marcus said. I bought 3 dealerships from your father last year. He was very grateful for the deal. He tilted his head. Does your father know you spend your time humiliating women on the internet? Evan's confident face cracked a little. This isn't. She showed up with $5. What was I supposed to do, pretend that was normal? Yes, Marcus said simply. That's exactly what you were supposed to do. You were supposed to be kind. You were supposed to be a gentleman. You were supposed to see a person, not a price tag. But she's just a... Finish that sentence, Marcus said, and his voice went cold as ice. Please. Finish it. Evan's mouth snapped shut. Marcus leaned forward. Let me tell you something about Amara. Something you would have learned if you'd spent even 5 minutes actually talking to her instead of recording her humiliation for your friends. Amara's heart pounded. What was he doing? 3 days ago, Marcus said, I came home from a business trip. I was tired. I hung my jacket in the closet and went to bed. The next morning, Amara found that jacket while she was cleaning. And inside the pocket was $3,000 in cash. The restaurant was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. $3,000, Marcus repeated. That's more money than Amara makes in 3 months. Maybe 4 months. Do you know what she did with it? Evan said nothing. His phone was still recording, but now his hand was shaking. She walked straight to my office and gave it to me. Every single dollar. She didn't take even one. She didn't think about it. She didn't consider what that money could do for her sick grandmother or her leaking roof or her empty wallet. Marcus's voice got stronger. She just did the right thing. Because that's who she is. Amara felt fresh tears coming, but these were different. These weren't tears of shame. These were something else. Marcus stood up. He was tall, and now he seemed even taller. He looked down at Evan like a king looking at a beggar. You stand there in your expensive suit, in your fancy shoes, with your father's money in your wallet, and you think that makes you better than her? Marcus shook his head. You're not fit to shine her shoes. Now wait just a minute. Evan started. I'm not finished. Marcus's voice didn't get louder, but somehow it got more powerful. Amara has more integrity in her little finger than you have in your entire body. She works hard. She's honest. She's kind to everyone in my house, from me to the gardener to the security guards. She never complains. She never takes what isn't hers. She never hurts people for fun. Marcus took a step closer to Evan. You want to know what real wealth looks like? It's not in your bank account. It's not in your car or your clothes or your daddy's business. Real wealth is in your character. And by that measurement, Amara is the richest person in this room. Evan's face was bright red now. This is ridiculous. I don't have to stand here and… Delete it, Marcus said. What? The recording. Delete it. Right now. I don't have to do anything. Marcus pulled out his own phone. I can call your father right now. I have him on speed dial. Would you like me to show him the video of his son bullying a woman for being poor? Or would you prefer to delete it yourself? Evan looked around the restaurant. Everyone was staring at him. Some people had their phones out too, recording him. His hands shook as he opened his phone. His face was twisted with anger, but his fingers moved across the screen. There. It's deleted. Happy. Show me, Marcus said. Evan held out his phone. Marcus looked at it carefully, checking the deleted folder, checking everything. Finally, he nodded. You can go now. Good. I didn't want to be here, anyway. Evan grabbed his jacket from the chair. This whole thing was a waste of my time. He stormed toward the door, but Marcus's voice stopped him one more time. Evan. Evan turned around. I hope someday you learn that being cruel doesn't make you strong. It just makes you cruel. Evan's face went through about 17 different expressions. Then he turned and practically ran out of the restaurant. The door slammed behind him. For a moment, nobody moved. Then slowly someone started clapping. Then another person. Then another. Soon the whole restaurant was applauding. Marcus ignored them all. He sat back down across from Amara and handed her a napkin for her tears. I'm so sorry, Amara whispered. I'm so sorry. I never meant to cause trouble. I never meant to embarrass you or… You didn't embarrass anyone, Marcus said firmly. He did that to himself. But everyone is looking at us, and… Let them look. Marcus smiled, and it was a real smile. Warm and genuine. Now. Have you eaten today? Amara shook her head. Then we're going to fix that. Marcus waved at a waiter. Not the rude one from before, a different one, and the man practically ran over. My friend would like the roasted chicken with vegetables. And bring us some fresh bread with butter while we wait. Right away, Mr. Leon. I can't let you pay for… Amara started. You're my guest, Marcus said. And more than that, you're someone who did the right thing when it would have been so easy to do the wrong thing. That deserves recognition. That deserves respect. And that definitely deserves a good meal. Amara looked down at her hands, at the crumpled $5 bill still clutched in her fingers. Keep it, Marcus said, seeing where she was looking. It's yours. You earned it. There's no shame in having $5, Amara. The only shame in this restaurant tonight belonged to the people who thought money was more important than kindness. The bread arrived, warm and perfect. Marcus pushed it toward her. Eat, he said. And tomorrow, you and I are going to have a talk about some changes. Changes? Amara's heart jumped. Am I fired? Marcus looked shocked. Fired?
No.
Why would you think? Then his face softened. Oh, Amara.
No.
You're not fired. I'm going to make sure you're treated the way you deserve. Starting tomorrow. I don't understand. You will, Marcus promised. But first, eat. You've had a very hard night. Let's end it with something good. And as Amara took her first bite of warm bread, as the butter melted on her tongue and the restaurant slowly returned to normal around them, she felt something she hadn't felt in a very long time. She felt like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. The next morning, Amara arrived at Marcus Leon's mansion at exactly 6 a.m., just like she did every day. Her eyes were still puffy from crying, partly from the horrible night before, partly from the wonderful way it ended. She'd barely slept. Her mind kept replaying everything: Evan's cruelty, Gregory's coldness, and Marcus's incredible kindness. She put on her cleaning uniform and tied her hair back. Time to work. Time to scrub floors and dust shelves and pretend last night never happened. But when she walked into the kitchen, Marcus was already there, sitting at the table with 2 cups of coffee. "Good morning, Amara," he said. "Please sit down." "Sir, I have work too." "Sit," he said gently. "Please. The floors can wait 10 minutes. Amara's heart thumped hard. This was it. He was going to fire her after all. Last night was too embarrassing. Too much drama. He probably didn't want someone like her working in his house anymore. She sat down, her hands shaking again. Marcus pushed one of the coffee cups toward her. "I did some thinking last night after I dropped you off, and I realized something." "Here it comes," Amara thought. "The end. I realized that I've been treating you unfairly." Amara blinked. "What?" "You work harder than anyone in this house," Marcus said. "You arrive early. You stay late. You never complain. And I've been paying you the minimum I could get away with." He shook his head. "That ends today." "I don't understand," Amara whispered. Marcus pulled out a folder from the chair next to him. He opened it and slid some papers across the table. "First thing, all those extra hours you've worked? The overtime I never paid you for? I went through the records. You're owed $4,200 in back pay. That check will be ready this afternoon." Amara's mouth fell open. $4,000? That was more money than she'd ever seen in her life. "Second thing," Marcus continued, "your salary is doubled, starting immediately. And you get health insurance, full coverage for you and your grandmother." "Mr. Leon, I can't." "You can and you will. Let me finish." Marcus smiled. "Third thing, you told me once that you wanted to study. You wanted to learn about hospitality management or bookkeeping, but you couldn't afford school." Amara remembered. It was 6 months ago during lunch break. She'd mentioned it once, just once, and she didn't think he'd been listening. But he had been. "I'm paying for your education," Marcus said. "Full tuition. Evening classes at Central City College. You can study whatever you want: hospitality, business, accounting, anything. I'll arrange your work schedule so you never miss a class." The tears came back, hot and fast. "Why?" Amara choked out. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus leaned forward. His eyes were serious. "Because last night showed me something I should have seen a long time ago. You're not just my maid, Amara. You're a person with dreams and talents and integrity that most people, most rich people, could never match." He paused, making sure she was really hearing him. "When you found that $3,000, you could have taken it. You could have paid for your grandmother's medicine for months. You could have fixed her roof. You could have bought groceries, new clothes, anything." Marcus's voice got softer. "But you didn't. You did the right thing, even when the right thing was hard. That kind of honesty is rare, and it deserves to be rewarded." Amara wiped her eyes. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," Marcus said firmly. "You did what you would do, and that makes all the difference." He pushed the papers closer. "Sign these. Accept the raise, the back pay, the insurance, the education. You've earned it 10 times over." Amara's hand trembled as she picked up the pen. She read through the papers. Everything he'd promised was there, written out in official language. This was real. This was actually happening. She signed her name. Good, Marcus said, and his smile was warm. Now, there's one more thing. There's more? Amara couldn't imagine what else there could be. Marcus stood up and walked to the counter. He picked up an envelope and brought it back to the table. This is from Gregory, the floor manager from Romano's. Amara's stomach twisted. She didn't want to think about Gregory or his cold eyes or the way he'd looked at her like trash. Open it, Marcus said. Inside was a handwritten letter. Amara read it slowly. Dear Miss Amara, I owe you an apology that words can barely express. Last night, I judged you based on your appearance and your wallet, and I treated you with cruelty and disrespect. I was wrong. Mr. Leon helped me see that I had forgotten the most important rule of hospitality. Every guest deserves dignity and respect, regardless of who they are or what they have. I am deeply sorry for trying to force you out of the restaurant. I am sorry for embarrassing you. And I am sorry for making you feel less than the remarkable person you clearly are. If you ever choose to return to Romano's, your meal will be free, and you will be treated with the respect and honor you should have received from the beginning. With sincere regret, Gregory Mitchell. Below the letter was a gift card to Romano's for $500. Amara couldn't speak. She just stared at the letter, reading it again and again. I had a long conversation with Gregory last night after you left, Marcus explained. He understands now that treating people badly based on money is not just wrong, it's cruel. He'll be doing better from now on. I'll make sure of it. And Evan? Amara asked quietly. Marcus's smile turned into something harder. Evan's father and I had a very interesting phone call this morning. It turns out Evan has a history of this kind of behavior. His father was not pleased. Let's just say Evan will be spending the next few months working in one of his father's factories, learning what it means to actually work for a living. Amara felt a small, surprising flutter of satisfaction. Not revenge, exactly. Just justice. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for everything. For last night. For this morning. For seeing me as a person, and not just. You were always a person to me, Marcus interrupted gently. I just should have shown it better. I should have paid you fairly from the beginning. I should have noticed how hard you worked. He paused. I'm sorry it took a terrible night to wake me up. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, drinking their coffee as the morning sun came through the kitchen windows. Finally, Marcus stood up. I have a meeting in an hour, but I want you to take today off. Go home. Rest. Think about what you want to study. And come back tomorrow ready for your new life. But the house needs. The house will survive one day without cleaning, Marcus said firmly. You need rest more than I need clean floors. Amara stood up too. On impulse, she stepped forward and hugged him. It was quick and awkward, but it was real. Thank you, she said again. Thank you for giving me a chance. Thank you for believing in me when nobody else would. Marcus smiled. You gave yourself the chance, Amara. You earned it with your honesty and your hard work. I'm just making sure you get what you deserve. As Amara walked out of the mansion that morning, carrying the envelope with her back paycheck and her new contract and Gregory's apology, she felt something amazing. For the first time in years, she felt hope. Not just hope for tomorrow or next week. Hope for her whole future. She thought about the classes she would take. Maybe hospitality management, so she could run her own hotel someday. Or accounting, so she could help other people manage their money. The possibilities stretched out in front of her like an open road. And it all started with $5 and a man who understood that dignity isn't something you buy. It's something you give. The end. This story makes us think about important questions. How do we treat people who have less than us? Do we see them as less important? Or do we see them as human beings who deserve respect? Amara's night started with humiliation, but it ended with hope. Why? Because one person chose kindness over cruelty. One person chose to see her character instead of her wallet. What about you? Have you ever seen someone being treated badly because they didn't have much money? Did you speak up? Did you help? Or did you stay quiet? The truth is, we all have chances to be like Marcus, to stand up for people who are being hurt, to protect their dignity, to see their worth when others don't. And we also have chances to be like Amara, to stay honest even when it's hard, to keep working even when nobody notices, to do the right thing even when nobody's watching. Here's my challenge for you today. The next time you see someone struggling, someone being mocked, someone being treated as less than, step up. Say something. Do something. Be the person who changes their story from humiliation to hope. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me what time it is where you're watching this story. Are you watching at midnight? During your lunch break? Early in the morning? Let me know. I love seeing where this story reaches people all around the world. And here's another question. If you were in Marcus's position, what would you have done? Would you have confronted Evan? Would you have done something different? Tell me in the comments. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button. It helps more people find stories about kindness and dignity and doing the right thing. We need more of these stories in the world. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe someone who's struggling. Maybe someone who's lost hope. Maybe someone who just needs a reminder that good people still exist. And don't forget to subscribe, because I share stories like this every week. Stories that remind us what it means to be human, to be kind, and to stand up for what's right. Remember, your character is your real wealth. Your integrity is your true fortune. And your kindness can change someone's entire life. See you in the next story. Until then, be like Marcus, see the person, not the price tag. And be like Amara, stay honest, stay strong, and never let anyone convince you that your worth is measured in dollars. Like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, be kind. The world needs more of it.